Yes.
I have a few questions for Dr. Cirillo. I came a little late, but I heard the U.S. Star mention that we are freed of the mall in the school, and that's a great news. I'm so happy for that. The Limber is freed. But I have a few questions for you. Maybe you could share with us what was the percent of the school that they have more at that time, and also how was the process done, and maybe if you could share the costly of that for us to know, because that was a very good news that you gave to us tonight, that we are freed of more and asbestos that we have in our school, and that was a very good job that you did. And I would like to know more information about how you did, what was the cost of that and the process, and how, if you could share, I don't know if you give us that outside, or how much of the mall and the school property that we have. Thank you.
So it's hard to analyze the percentage of the mold when and if any area is identified. There was an area in this building very close to where we are sitting, actually behind one of those walls, where water can penetrate a wall from the roof, of course, most times. And if it's unseen and untreated, undetected, it turns to mold. At that point, immediately, when it's brought to my attention, we immediately remove any and all individuals from the area. We do air quality tests before we determine it's mold. I'm not a mold expert. So we bring in a company, a approved company from the state of New Jersey, who assess the area. The spores, S-P-O-R-E-S, which are just samples of what looks like mold, I guess, is scraped by technicians, sent to a lab for analyzation. When the lab confirms the area, again, that room was isolated. No one enters that area. It is secured. It is 100% off limits to anyone and everyone. Once it is confirmed to be mold, a remediation company is brought in. In an area like the ECC, the scrubbing, the sampling of the area after the remediation, because we have to do an air quality again. It can cost anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 on average. It matters the size of the area. Lindbergh Elementary School, for example, there was a concern a few years ago about one of the stairwells. There was a size of a quarter, 25 cents, that was discolored. It was a discoloration, it was dark, it was identified and told to me. I immediately shut down that stairwell. A lot of people were upset, but again, I didn't want anyone entering or exiting that stairwell. We immediately had the company come in. We had them scrape the area, send it to the lab, come back for testing. When they started to scrub the wall, if you remember, I believe your daughter was a student there at the time, we saw that the whole wall started to come down of that stairwell. So we're talking about that project costing a little bit more, because what we thought was something the size of a quarter became replace the whole wall and replastering, and but again, we can't put a price tag on the safety and well-being of any student, any staff member. So immediately when these areas are identified, we react accordingly, and it's not we professionally doing anything.
No.
It is companies that are approved and licensed by the state of New Jersey. So on average, from the air quality testing, that can be, I've seen tests cost $700 to $2,000 for air quality per test on an area. I've seen the remediation, the scrubbing cost, again, depending on the area, $2,000 to $10,000, and then an air quality at the end again. So it's there are rolling costs. I can't just put a dollar amount on it.
But we was, at that time, I remember my daughter was attending school at that time. But, you handle it really well. You handle it like poor education handling their own. Now with no help from the town, and also, we was in school. We just covered in plastic, because I have picture of that. We covered in plastic, we stayed in the building, but we wasn't in that area.
That's correct.
So that's how we handle, because unfortunately, we don't have another place to move. out of the school, and we had to keep teaching. And you handle it, and I'm happy that this is clear now, and that we did. And hopefully, and that was one of the reasons you go for the referendum. Unfortunately, it was rejected. It was down, but because that's one of the main reasons, because, repair that, it could come back. It's no guarantee that we can get more again, in all school. But unfortunately, we don't have all support from the town to support our school, but I'm happy to hear that we are cleared up.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's a good point. And I want to commend Dr. Cirillo, because really that's the job of the buildings and grounds, of the business administrator to oversee the buildings and grounds. And I'm so confident and happy that Alex is going to be taking on this grueling task, and I know we'll be on top of it even more. But it's a good point. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other audience participation? If not, I'd like to close this portion of audience.
I do have one item
Yes,
for
sir.
closed session.
And, okay, I'd like to entertain a motion that we go into closed session, and we'll be back.
There's only a vote on one HIB incident, so nothing major. If you'd like to stay, it should not be long.
Okay,
If not, have a great month of August.
any motion on that?
I'll make a motion to go into closed.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good. Officially closed.